Right. Deon, welcome. Welcome to everybody on this first live broadcast from Motorhome-World. We're very excited. We're excited to see you. The last time we spoke...
That was a year ago.
You were in Scandinavia, I think.
That's when we last spoke. Yes, that's true. I was in Scandinavia. That's right. Yeah.
We did speak in between, but I mean, for the people, we did a podcast and you were just over the border, I think, into, I can't remember, Sweden or Norway.
Oslo somewhere,
Okay. Well, now you're here in the flesh. Fantastic.
Yes.
Good to see you. Glad you could make it.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. It's always nice to see you guys.
I think maybe there are people, obviously not only on the live, when we do post this for later on, a little bit of a summary maybe, Deon, on how you got into the whole overlanding and your decisions this was a long-term plan, I guess.
Yeah, this is a long, it's a long story. How much time have you got? Obviously when you come to retirement age, you start looking at options of what to do and what you can and what you can't do. We went down the rabbit hole of looking at narrow boating in the UK as an option, and then that sounded too constrictive because it's only in the UK, and then we thought, well, maybe a barge in Europe is an option. But we were doing a bit of overlanding, if I can put it that way. We had a 4x4 and an overland trailer, and we went to Botswana a few times. And
rooftop tent, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. And once a year we would go to the outdoor show, just not too far from here. And that's when we stumbled upon the Discoverer motorhomes. And that climbing into the motorhome, I think it was Errol's that you had on the show then. Climbing into that motorhome and seeing that window in a window is just, that planted the seed. And it all went from there. We started thinking about it, looking at finances, looking at time frames, and then eventually we took the leap and we bought, I think that was the last manual short wheelbase chassis that was available.
Oh, those the 5.5 tons.
Yeah.
Yes.
That we bought then, stood in your premises for 2 or 3 months, waiting for the build to start. And that started just before COVID. COVID delayed the whole thing, but eventually we got our motorhome and we started traveling. So I can remember weekends we would we live in Durbanville. We would take the motorhome and go to Melkbos and places close by, spend the weekend there, do some wild camping in between the houses.
In Melkbos.
In Melkbos, yes. So, and when we got the opportunity, we would go away for a longer weekend. And then eventually 1 or 2 holidays. We went to Botswana with the motorhome, which was, that was a revelation. To drive this huge motorhome in sand as if you on tar is just amazing.
Bucket list for lots of people.
Yes, absolutely. And then when the retirement date came, we were ready to ship to Europe. So we had our plans in place and visas and what have you, and we shipped from Durban to Europe, and we've been traveling almost 3 years now. December it'll be 3 years.
Yeah. For those of you that are listening, we did a podcast with Deon regarding the whole shipping and how we organized it and some tips and do's and don'ts for the whole motorhome shipping. So go back into the history and then you can maybe find that podcast. It will be on Spotify and other podcast places. I think you can listen to that. Very interesting conversation that was.
Yes.
3 years already. Is it
3
been
years
that
already,
long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We left just before Christmas or just after Christmas in, what was that, 23, 22. We went on a bit of a road trip through the country. Then we went down to Durban, put it on a ship, flew back to Cape Town, waited a month, and then flew over to Belgium to collect the vehicle there. And we've been traveling ever since. We've been from Belgium down to Morocco. Because of the Schengen, we had to travel quite a long distance. We'll get to the Schengen issue later on. Went to the Balkans, went back to Europe again, From there, we went back to the Balkans again, if I remember correctly. Then on to Scandinavia, where we had the podcast last year. Then through Russia, Georgia, Turkey a few times, and back to Europe now. And then we went to UK, where the truck is at the moment.
Okay.
So once we go back now at the end of November, we'll go back to Morocco because it's a wonderful country to go to. And
can't stay out of Africa.
well, yeah, I suppose it's that. We'll go to Tunisia as well. So yes. But those are the type of countries we prefer to travel to.
Yeah.
So we'll
but what brings you here? There's obviously a reason why you're in South Africa.
Yeah, we're joking. We're taking a holiday from the holiday, which is not quite true, but yeah.
There's a bit of truth in that, I
There's
guess.
a bit of truth in it, yeah. We came to visit children and grandchildren, visit our friends at Motorhome-World, of course, and we're taking one or two other trips, and then eventually we'll go back. There was something else I wanted to say now, but yeah, that's basically what we want to escape the winter in England.
Yes, I think we're gonna get to the wintering as well. Just now, I think.
That's probably the most
important. It's also on my mind personally as well. I mean, the trips are in Europe, of course, are wonderful, and Scandinavia as well. But the Scandinavia in summer is still a winter like here. So,
it is.
So it's something to prepare for.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get to that now.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see you here by us. It's always good to see you. And Tilla, of course, as well. She's not here today, but yeah, it was also nice to see her.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just going to go through some of the questions, and we'll keep speaking. If there's somebody online that definitely wants to ask questions, we will take that into consideration. I don't know. See, are we live on Facebook?
Live. We have 2 questions that just came in.
All right. How do I see them? Sorry, guys. Don't want to sound too unprofessional, but maybe you can click on it and I can see it. So one of the questions I've got here, and this is something that I personally get a lot as well. It's not just from people. It's people in Europe want to travel in Africa. And it seems to me that people in Africa, South Africa, want to travel in Europe. You've done both now. Is there a way, or is it a fair question to say prefer one to the other? Or is maybe a better question is there an advantage to doing either Europe or Africa, knowing the equipment you've got?
I think when you have a vehicle such as we have at the moment, then traveling in Africa is a must do. I mean, you can go with this vehicle just about anywhere. We love Botswana. We have not been to Namibia yet with this vehicle. We've been to Zambia and Zimbabwe, and that's amazing countries to travel to. But motorhoming in South Africa is not the same as motorhoming in Europe. One is constrained to campsites here because of safety concerns. In Europe, it's a different story. Motorhoming is a way of life there. If you drive through towns, you often come across second-hand motorhome dealers where there's in excess of 100 or more motorhomes. It's just big business. Now, those are normal motorhomes, so you would travel on road with them. The overland community is smaller. There are way fewer motorhomes that you can go off road or off the beaten path with. So, as I say, it's a different way of life in Europe. You would go to a campsite, that's it. In Europe, you can go just about wherever you like. Some countries are more conducive to motorhome travel. France, Spain, perhaps Germany, where they make provision for motorhomes. Once you go out of those countries, you can basically park wherever you feel it's safe or where you like often. But that's the difference between motorhoming in Southern Africa, South Africa specifically, and Europe.
Okay, so it's a parking overnight.
It's often a parking overnight thing, yes. Yeah.
And if I take that same topic, but I think planning ahead. So if we here in Southern Africa plan a trip ahead, we do tend, like you say, in South Africa, we do tend to book ahead our campsites.
Yes.
In Namibia, Botswana is slightly different. You can do wild camping
it
there
will
in
be
Namibia,
different,
Botswana.
yes.
So
Yeah.
there's lots of our other customers that go into the northern of
Yes.
Namibia and they camp for weeks on
Yes.
end in dry riverbeds
Yeah.
and areas like that.
Mm.
But if we think about the pre-planning for a holiday here, it takes a bit of pre-planning.
Yes.
Is that in Europe? Is that easier, where you can just be on a whim to go, oh, today we're going to go to Turkey, or tomorrow we're going to go to Hungary?
It would be easy enough, provided you abide by whatever visa rules there are.
Yeah, okay. Besides
If
the visa
you,
rules,
yeah. So if you a European citizen, whichever country, you can go wherever you like, more or less. For us, it's not that easy. We have the Schengen rules to abide by, but it's also not that difficult. One can go to most countries in Europe without much difficulty once you have the Schengen visa, because that allows you to go into the Balkans, for instance, with a Schengen visa. Whereas if you want to go to, let's say, Croatia from South Africa, you would need a specific visa for that country. With a Schengen visa, it opens up a country like that. Croatia is now not a good example because it's not part of Schengen. But still, if you
Turkey,
yeah.
Turkey is not Schengen.
Turkey is not Schengen, but
Yeah.
you need an e-visa for that, and that you apply online. You get it within a few hours, and off you go. So it's easy enough. So one has to do quite a bit of planning because of the Schengen thing. That makes it more difficult.
So if you stay within a Schengen area, do you still have to do then pre-planning? I'm not talking high season. I can imagine now if you go in July or in August in Europe, you have to book ahead because everybody is just filling everything up.
Yes.
But I don't think you travel in that time. You make sure you're away
we
from the
try
holiday.
Yes.
Because,
There is a bit of planning to do.
But compared to South Africa.
Yeah, there is a bit of planning to do, but it's long-term planning. Short-term, not so much. We can decide we want to go from here to the next town today, or we want to do 100 kilometers or whatever the case is, and you can pretty much drive and arrive on the other side, and you will find a place to park. You can either go to a campsite, you can use your Park for Night app and find a spot to park. It's not that difficult. But the long-term planning is the thing, so that you make sure that you don't overstep your Schengen constrictions.
Yeah, okay. Well, that sounds fantastic. Your blog that's going at the moment,
Yes.
Travel's catching a lot of attention.
Yeah.
How do you find doing the blog? How do you find?
I
being
enjoy
in
it.
yeah.
I enjoy it. I often find myself when driving, I start writing. I see something and I make up a story about it, and then look for a picture to go with that, or I take a photo and make up. Sometimes just make up a story about it. That also happens. But I like doing the blog. It's a bit of a diary. It's a way to inform people about what you're doing, and it's also a way to educate people to an extent of what's going on where you are. We often find that you tell people, well, they ask you, what are you doing now? Well, we're traveling in a motorhome. So, and people's eyes glaze over because they have no concept of what that is. And hopefully the blog is a bit of a tool to educate people about what we do, what we see, because we've heard of things, and you go and visit and you experience something totally different, or you experience unexpected things, and the blog is a way to convey what we experience to others.
Well, you got lots of followers.
Yes, it's not a question of chasing numbers. Obviously, it's nice to see your followers grow, but it's not all about that.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to have more followers, it's a bit of a boost to a tick that you're doing the right thing, or what you're writing is people enjoy that. So, but it's not all about that.
No, fair enough. But do you get feedback? Lots of feedback for
We
you
do.
guys? Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's nice to have comments and things. We haven't had nasty comments thus far, which many people experience, but mostly people have comments about they've been there, or they ask a question about, you know, the place that you've been to and so on. So it's nice to have that sort of feedback as well.
No, good. And on that same topic, maybe connection for the internet through your travels. At the moment, obviously, only European, North Scandinavia, and the Balkans.
Yeah.
How has that been in that area?
No issue. No
Everywhere.
issue anywhere. Yeah.
People tell me Germany is sometimes got the worst of it.
Yeah, well, I'd put England, you know, in that category as well, because the signal is not always that good, and you would find better signal in countries that you don't expect. You know, you go to the Balkans, you think, well, it's a small country, and you got signal there that beats the Starlink type of signal. So yeah, so we've often found that, and it's easy to get a SIM card. We travel with a Spanish SIM card at the moment. You get 400 gig per month in Spain and 200 gig per month for most of the European countries. It's a fixed rate of 39 euros, and you travel pretty much where you want to. And
That's very
once you get into a new country, it switches off for a few minutes and switches back on, and there you go. If you go to Morocco, for instance, at the border, there's all sorts of kiosks, so you can buy a SIM card there. The guy would put your SIM card in, make sure you've got you're connected, and off you go. And as I say, more often than not, the signal there is better than well, sometimes what we've experienced here.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah.
So yeah, I know. In today's time, I don't think that is a problem anymore.
No,
You know,
no,
it's like water. Where people live, you can find water
absolutely.
and cell phone towers.
Yeah.
So
Well, you mentioned water now. It's not so easy to find water everywhere, especially in a country where you expect you would find water, like in England, for instance. There are no taps or anything. You need to go to a campsite, or it's through very hard work that you would find somewhere to fill up your tanks.
so it's public access to water.
Yeah.
I mean, there's water everywhere, but it's the access that you need if you're not on a campsite.
Yeah.
Strange. You don't think of these things.
One would
I've seen
think.
pictures of you right in the beginning. I don't know if you still do it at like town square, and they have the fountains or
Yes.
the
Yeah.
and you actually
You
fill up canisters.
Park and block the place, and well,
You fill your water tank.
That's what you need to do. And then you go to a place like Morocco, and you can get water anywhere, because they don't have running water in the towns or at the houses, so they would fill up wherever the
public access.
yeah. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's so where your infrastructure is so good in a country where everybody's got your running water in your house. It's difficult for somebody else to find water.
Yeah, it's difficult for somebody else to find water.
Yeah,
yes.
it's strange. You don't think
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
But it's not a block. It's not it's just part of the experience.
It's part of the experience, yes. Sometimes it's fun to stop in a mountain pass somewhere, and there's a fountain running out of the mountain, and there's a little tap with a cup sitting there, so anyone can use the cup, and you fill up your tank with. We've got 2 jerry cans, and we fill up the tank. Takes a few minutes, and it's part of the experience.
Yeah. Nice photo moments.
Yes,
And I've seen some photos like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
photo
yeah.
moments.
Yes.
Good, awesome. Right. So you've met up with other motorhome overlanding communities. Have you seen the last 3 years a change? If you see with the people that you've met, do you think the community is growing? It's probably small as it starts, but is there a trend that you've seen in Europe from when you started till now where you...
I can't really pinpoint a trend. I think there's always been overlanders. There's maybe a trend for more people to live in a van or a motorhome like that. So the van community is probably growing a bit.
Panel van.
Panel van type of thing.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. But I think that's a question of economics. People find having a house to keep up and that sort of thing is expensive. So many people can live in a van, have a Starlink satellite on the roof, and be able to work remotely. And then why would you have a flat where you're constrained and all that? You can park wherever you like, work from wherever you like, and I think that's perhaps what is growing is that type of lifestyle. As far as overlanders are concerned, they're quite a lot. We often come across overlanders, but not in Europe so much. The overlanders are moving out into Turkey and the faraway places, which
Yes.
is the adventurous type of thing to do when you have an overlander.
Yeah, but you alluded to it already to
Yeah.
say that sometimes traveling in North Africa is better than traveling in Europe,
Yeah.
from that matter.
Yeah.
From an enjoyable point of
Yes.
view. Yes.
Yeah.
That also, you mentioned Park for Night just now as well. That's obviously an app where you can pre-book sites or see if it's available. I know in South Africa we've got Drive Moz, that's from Mozambique.
Mm.
How's that experience been from an app and the traveling? A lot of app-like stuff you use to plan your travels?
Park
in
for
Europe?
Night is our go-to app that we're using. And incidentally, there's some places marked in South Africa on the Park for Night app as well. I didn't realize that. I checked and I thought, well, okay, it's probably overseas travelers who've marked campsites and so on. But the Park for Night is really invaluable. You can either find a free spot or the airs, which they call in France, where the municipality would have an area with 20 or 30 spaces where motorhomes can park, where you can get water, where you can maybe charge your electricity for a fee. You can empty your grey water, your black water tanks. And then they've also got a little green tree icon, which is, the out of the way sort of places where you drive into the bush or on a mountain or something and you park where there's nobody else. So and then you can start looking for, you can look for water where one will find water, laundromats, that type of thing. So it's a very, very handy app. We haven't used iOverlander much.
Yes, I know that one too, yeah.
It's a very well-known app that overlanders use. And it might be that once we go further east towards the Stuns or Mongolia, that one will use iOverlander more. But we'll see when we get there. But for now, Park for Night is really
the go-to.
Is the go-to app, yeah.
All right. And traffic routing?
No, that we use GPS or Google Maps. So.
Okay, so that's the vehicle's built.
Yeah.
You don't use your iPad or something similar.
No.
So it's the vehicle built.
Yes.
You have I think you call her something, isn't it? I remember.
I remember I call her often.
Well, we must maybe beep her. Hey, I see we have a question. Let's quickly do that. Which country has been your favorite and why?
Morocco and Turkey.
Morocco and
Turkey. Those are the favorite countries. Probably because it's not so developed or can I say civilized than what it is in Europe itself. Less structured maybe. And it's more the type of place where we want to travel to, where there's fewer people. So those are the countries that we
fewer
like.
Restrictions, maybe?
To an extent, yes. With regards to parking and that sort of thing.
Rules and regulations.
Yeah. And it's perhaps also a bit cheaper than Europe. I mean, Europe is quite expensive. The further north you go, or if you go to England, it's very expensive. So it's much cheaper to go to countries like that.
And Turkey?
Turkey, same thing. It's a beautiful country, and there's so much interesting history stuff to see. Yeah, it's just such a vast country to travel to. So
You could spend a year there.
you can. Yeah. We've been there 5 months in total, and we haven't seen everything that we want to see. So we'll probably go back again.
Well, if you think in Mongolia and those areas, you're probably going to pass through that.
Yes.
It's the gateway
We
to
will.
the east,
Yeah,
isn't it? So,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You're going to pass through that. All right, good. I will answer that other question I will answer just now. Maintenance, spares and maintenance. How have you found that? It's 3 years now since the motorhome is there. Obviously, you have a South African built motorhome, not a European built. So there might be some differences in parts, accessories, maintenance. The Avico itself, I'm sure it's the same because it's a European vehicle.
It's a European vehicle. Yeah.
But have you found any issues or problems
With the vehicle
for
itself,
maintenance?
no. Not in terms of major things breaking down. We had a slight issue. Well, it became a big issue at the time. But before we left, we camped in the Drakensberg in a campsite, one of the park's sites, and it rained quite a bit overnight. And when we wanted to leave, when we wanted to make a U-turn to leave, and we got stuck in the campsite. So we got the Parks Board to come and tow us out with one of their trucks. And in the process, they damaged the connections where you would plug in for when you tow a trailer or something like that. We just disconnected it because it wasn't something that we're going to use. And in Turkey, we did some off-road traveling, and it rained there as well. And on the tar road, we thought, well, it's a good idea to drive through all the water puddles to wash the underside of the truck, which was not such a good idea, because overnight the water went into the electrics, exactly where those connectors were disconnected, and our truck was, disabled. So we had to be towed. Well, they took us in on a low bed. And they fixed the problem, but that was the only issue. Tires is not it's obviously not something that you've got to change tires at some other stage. Now we did that in Belgium. We put on retreaded Michelin tires, and that lasted until we got into Russia. So then we started looking around for tires, and we couldn't find anything that fits on a 16-inch rim with the appropriate weight.
So that's a vehicle-specific issue.
Yeah, that was a vehicle-specific. We tried in Turkey. They could import, but at 100% import tax, so we thought that's not a good idea. And then eventually we found tires in Switzerland. So we had to drive with 2 tires that have patches on them. And we eventually made it to Switzerland, and we could put on 17-inch rims and new tires with the appropriate weight rating, and now that's all fixed. But apart from that, no other issues. We haven't had any breakdowns. Maybe I can classify this as an issue. We filled up with petrol in Georgia instead of diesel.
That sounds.
It was, yes. They call petrol benzene there. And we stopped at the garage. We asked 3 times, is this diesel? And the guy said yes. He filled up. And we were on the way into the mountains when the diesel pump started singing. And eventually the truck just wouldn't go, yeah. And we, fortunately, we were people who helped us. The guy brought cans. We emptied the diesel tank. We've got a second tank. We filled up the cab's tank again, drove back, and we made a big thing of these guys giving us the wrong fuel. But yeah, that was it. But there were no after effects or anything. The truck was fine after that.
Yeah.
So that was the only real issues we had.
Okay. Right, but for the rest, if you had little things, that was always available.
Yeah.
It's Europe, so it should be in Europe.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously, the further away you go now, then it's going to get slightly.
Yeah.
So, do you carry spares?
We now bought quite a bit of spares in England because there's a place that supplies generic parts. So we're not going with the Iveco's original parts. It's just way too expensive.
We can mute this out.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's fine.
So we bought a bit of spares in the UK, so which we'll carry with us. We will do a service again when we get to Turkey, because at the garage where they fixed our truck the first time, we got excellent service there, and it's quite an experience to get your service from these guys. And we've been back for a service there when we went into Turkey, and we'll go when we go eastwards towards the Stans. We'll have another service done. But it's interesting experiences that you want to think, your Iveco dealerships in Europe, where we've got 10 or 15 bays and they service lots of trucks at a time. There's only one service bay here. So we slept at the dealership the evening before, and the next morning they plugged in and, checked whatever was the problem. Yeah, done our diagnostics, did the service. We were served tea every 10 minutes and had lunch with them. So it was
This
nice
is probably
experience.
where iOverlander comes in, because there you can, on that app, you can recommend places, add places for services.
Yes.
I don't think Park 49 is specifically.
Probably not.
No,
No.
it's not meant for
No.
that.
No.
But iOverlander is it's probably nice for this sort of
Yes.
thing, where you would go, oh, we had awesome service at this place.
Yeah,
This is the number, recommended.
that's right. Yes. Yeah.
I think that's what people use iOverlander for
Yeah.
quite a bit. I don't know if there's other apps out there. So, but
There are a few other apps, but we,
Yeah.
we used them once or twice and then just gave up and went back to Park for Night.
Yeah. Another question. Are there any modifications that you have made to the vehicle during your travels? We'll talk about electrics later, because I think that's where we're going to get
That's
to.
the one.
I think there's
modification I'd like
electrics
to-
on the list somewhere,
Yeah.
but yes.
Yeah.
So apart from the electrics, have you done any modifications?
No, not that I can think of. Nothing major. One tinkers here and there, but it's not major stuff. We haven't chipped the vehicle or anything like that. The best modification we've made so far is the new tyres.
Yeah.
It's a wider tyre, bigger tyre, better weight rating, 17-inch rim, so your choice of tyre to fit that rim is better. But that's the only modification, if we can put it that way.
So with the new rims, sourcing tyres is going to be a lot easier going
Should
forward.
be easier.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's we know that as well from the 5.5 ton vehicle, of course.
Yeah.
But it was always a little bit of a weak link.
Yeah.
Of the split rim.
Yeah.
And the tyres, they're
Yeah.
difficult to get by.
Yeah.
And then with the 17 or any other modification that can do the weight is a good change.
Yes. Yeah.
With the 7 ton, it makes life a bit easier with
Yeah.
the new rims.
Of course, the truck is rated at 5.5 tons, but because this is our house, you take the kitchen sink with, so we're probably running closer to 5.8 or so.
Yeah, you are probably
So
slightly
we're probably
above.
over, yeah.
Yeah. That's what the new truck also obviously makes a bit difference.
Yes,
with the- with
7 tons you can load quite a bit more, but we're always on or over that limit.
Yeah.
And then of course you buy wine in Europe when you go to Morocco, because you can't buy wine there. So
you take stuff
6,
with it, yeah.
7, 8 extra bottles of wine, it makes a difference.
I must also say, since you've been traveling for the last 3 years, we've had lots of feedback from you as a manufacturer. So I got my manufacturer hat on. We've learned from you lots of little nuances about traveling in Europe, not just the cold areas, but also the warm areas. It's different there. And we've implemented some of those little tricks and trades already as a standard in our production. So thank you for that.
That's
We do listen.
That's the thing. If you if you take your truck on a trip once or twice a year, You go out, you find something that bothers you, and you think, okay, I'll look at it later. And the next time you go, I forgot about that previous problem. So, but if you live in your truck full time, then the small things which can be improved is necessary. So you've got to look at the small things that you can improve. So we're glad to help.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy for that. I'm very happy for that.
Yeah.
So I would really a lot more people to go and travel all over the world.
Yes.
And then we all collectively learn a lot more.
Good.
And also in between, of course.
Yeah.
It's not I'm not referring only back to the manufacturing to make a product better, but it's also referring to inter between our customers or other overlanding out there that you learn from each other. We were just alluded to recommend a service center in
Yes.
Turkey. You go there, fantastic service.
Yeah, we've done that already
That
with
makes a
those
big
same
difference.
guys. Yeah, so and they sent us a picture saying, we're standing in front of these, these guys' garage, and we're getting a service. Yeah,
That's the whole community.
yeah,
Brings
yeah.
together. That's awesome. Right, let's bring it a little bit back. Obviously Europe is slightly different to us as well. You have ferries. You've been on ferries now a couple of times.
Yeah.
How was the ferry experience? Because something we don't know here.
Wonderful.
It's
And we're still
unknown.
not-
It's an
yeah.
unknown thing for us.
We're still not used to it. I mean, every time we go on a ferry, it's like a new experience. I think the first ferry we did was Spain to Morocco. That takes about an hour and a half. And it's wonderful to just drive your truck into this ship and it disappears there. So
And the size is not a constraint. The weight, the size, it's not a normal car.
of our truck
Yes,
is smaller compared to what they drive onto those ferries. I mean,
Okay.
Interlinks is what we call them. 18-wheelers in Europe.
Trucks, okay.
They probably
Yeah,
put
true.
50 to 100 of those things into one of those ferries, and it just disappears into the innards of the ferry. And you'll see a guy driving a truck and turning it around inside.
The big ones.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Okay.
But then, we've been on quite a few others as well. Some just 20 minutes. You cross a river with it. In Norway, ferries are a way of life because in between all those fjords, you can't just dig tunnels everywhere. You've got to cross a fjord or a river, whatever, from time to time. You just drive up, you pay once you're on the ferry, and off you go. It's a nice experience.
Is it a scheduling problem?
For us, you mean?
Yes, for you guys. Yeah.
No,
If you want
not
to
really.
travel.
No. We've often made the choice to take the ferry instead of a bridge because the toll fees for a bridge would be more than the ferry. So, and we're not in a hurry. I mean, we're nomads and we're not in a hurry to get anywhere. So, why not get on a ferry
And to
Let
Morocco,
someone
you
else
don't
do
have
the
to book
driving.
like a month in advance.
No.
There's enough capacity, I think
Yes.
is the word I'm looking for. There's enough
Yeah.
capacity for trucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you go from Spain to Morocco, you always go to Carlos. He's just so well known in Algeciras is the city where you depart from. So everyone goes to Carlos and you get your ferry booking there. And you get a bottle of wine and a basket of fruit and whatever with your booking. And it's so wonderful.
Right. We talked about Europe now, but I think Russia. Have we spoken about your Russian experience before? I don't remember.
No, I don't think we've
We
spoken
haven't.
about Russia, no.
So you entered Russia from Scandinavian side, Finland side?
Yes, there was a mention somewhere we could crossing 5 borders in 10 days. We were coming from Finland. We were actually escaping from Finland because the weather was just too cold there. So we drove down from Finland, crossed over with a ferry to Estonia, to Latvia, to Lithuania, and we wanted to go to Russia from Latvia. And as we were driving up to the border, this is just an interesting side note. Did you know that the center of Europe is in Latvia?
The geographical center.
The geographical center of Europe is in Latvia.
Wow. You wouldn't
because
guess.
no, you wouldn't guess. I mean, we drove past and it says that, you're joking. And we stopped there, and this is like you've got the Canaries, I think, on the one side, and part of Russia is also up to the Ural Mountains is part of Europe, and you've got Norway on the north and Cyprus, I think, in the south, and you take all that, distances and measurements and whatever, and then you come to Latvia as the centre.
Well, what that shows is how small Western Europe is.
Yeah. Anyway, I went up to want to go through Latvia, and we saw rows of trucks waiting to get to the border. So we thought, okay, well, let's bypass this and go to the Estonian border. Drove up to the border, and there was nobody there. No real activity. But there was a little kiosk. We stopped there and said, "Have you made an appointment to cross the border?" I said, "No." Okay, you have to make an appointment. So you pay 10 euros or something. And we got an appointment for 2 days later, 4 o'clock in the morning, to cross the border. So we went elsewhere. We parked for 2 days. We went back. We thought, well, let's go early. It might help. So we were there at 2 o'clock in the morning. I said, okay, come in. You can park there. And now you wait. There's a electronic board on one of the buildings, and that flashes numbers.
Okay.
And then they would flash 6 or 7 numbers, and you see 6 or 7 cars depart, and then border is closed. And then 6 or 7 numbers, and then 6 or 7 trucks would go, and then again border is closed. And only at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, our number flashed on the board.
And you have to sit there and keep watching this board.
You
You
can
have to
sit
know
and
what the
watch,
gap
yeah.
is in between numbers.
Yeah, no, you sit there for 1 hour and wait and say, the board's running and no numbers, so you just wait. So exiting through Estonia was quickly, but you go through the border and there's a traffic light on the other side, and that was red again. So you can't go to the Russian border and wait in a queue. You've got to wait until they call you. So got to the border, and the lady came up and said, "Where's your passports and your visas?" I said, "Well, there's the passports. We don't need visas. So we as South Africans don't need a visa to go to Russia." She walked away, came back. "Oh, okay, no, you're right. That's passport stamped." And we went to the next kiosk, and the guy gave us a form to fill in, which was in Russian. So Google Translate, fill in the form, handed him back a form. So, okay, well, here's another form. And all the while, in between, he disappears and nothing happens. And eventually we got through. He said, "Okay, well, park your vehicle there, unpack the garage," which we did. He said, "Okay, now that you unpack the garage, there's a scanner, an X-ray scanner over there, and have your truck scanned." So we had fell in the queue. Fell in the queue with 10 trucks, and waited for that the truck to be scanned, everything. And we eventually got through the border at 12 o'clock at that night. So now you enter a new country. You've got no idea where you're going. GPS is not working in Russia.
Signal-wise. Or maps-wise.
Signal-wise, it picks up your height above sea level, and it will pick up your speed, but nothing else.
No coordination.
Nothing.
No coordinates.
Nothing. So GPS is totally blocked in Russia. We did not have a SIM card at that stage because there were no kiosks at the border. So we were driving blind. We just followed whatever sign said St. Petersburg. So we drove a while and we stopped. And next morning we continued and found a place to buy a SIM card and get some sort of connection. So that was quite interesting.
That's quite a rigmarole to cross the border. And I'm sure right now it will be completely different. Worse, not better.
It might be worse, yes.
Current current scenarios that they have there.
Yeah.
But if would you advise people doing that whole rigmarole on all that time?
I wouldn't go now.
No.
Yeah.
No.
When we
Besides
went,
now.
it was the war was ongoing, but it was quieter. But it's getting too close to where you travel in that part of Russia.
Yeah, I think if you go now,
safe.
I think if you go now, you'll have a Trabant following you everywhere you go.
Well, we don't know if we did have anybody following us. So You know, you come into a city and somebody walks up and say, "Hi, I see you foreign and whatever," and start talking, and in the back of your mind says, "Why, why are the people so friendly?" But that's what the Russians were. We were told at the border, there was a young guy standing there, said, "You know, you'll find the Russians are very friendly people," and that's what we found everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah. Getting in was one thing. Getting out was another ordeal as well.
Oh, try and get out, yeah. But the country itself, would you go back? Because I'm personally, I'm intrigued. I'm really intrigued.
Yeah. That's a difficult question to answer. The distances you travel is just enormous. I mean, you travel between two small towns. 100 kilometers, you get there, there's a little shop and 5 houses, and that's the town. So you travel another 100 kilometers, and same thing. We travel to Yekaterinburg, which is on at the Ural Mountains. That's only 1/3 into the country, east for west to east. And I think at that time we've already traveled through three time zones. So we did 9,000 kilometers in 2.5 months. So it's huge distances. The advantage, of course, is that petrol is cheap. Diesel is cheap. We paid 8,000 rand for diesel over a 3-month period. We did 9,000 kilometers.
Oh, yes.
So, you know, you drive for fun. It's cheap. Yeah. And groceries is cheap. But it's an interesting country. You know, of course, getting into Moscow, it's an amazing city, super clean, and it's all about show. You drive into the city and there's this huge monument or statue, whatever you like to call it, and then the space monument with about Yuri Gagarin flying off into space. It's a huge monuments they've got there. And then you step out on the Red Square. I mean, that in itself is just, you know, you get goosebumps just thinking about it. Because, you know, what images do you have of the Red Square? You've got Lenin's mausoleum there. You've got this platform with those people in the grey suits and the hats, you know, check this procession of intimidating vehicles passing there, and you think, well, I'm standing on the same square with that happens.
Yeah.
So
I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued. It sounds also. And in your exit, you were saying?
Yeah, that took 24 hours as well. We got, as we approached the border, we were about 100 kilometers from the border when we saw the trucks waiting to get through, and we eventually learned that it could take up to 2 weeks for a truck to get through the border there. We were 9 kilometers away when we got to the queue waiting to get to the border. That's for the cars. So you would stand in this line, switch on, drive 2 car lengths, switch off, wait, and so it went for probably 9 or 10 hours to get to the border. We emptied a quarter of a tank of diesel just for that 9 kilometers. To get to the border itself. It's idling, yeah. Wow. So yeah, that was an interesting experience too. Yeah.
Interesting. It's definitely on my bucket list. I know it's difficult, as you were saying, but you haven't dissuaded me yet.
Yes. Of course, MasterCard and Visa doesn't work there.
Cash.
So we had to work out a budget, draw euros, and then exchange for rubles when we get.
I see there's some questions here on the Facebook side. I just want to go through. There's some here, that we can easily answer just about the vehicle. That's fine. Bernd Itzko, which 5 countries were the most spectacular since traveling overboard? 5. So I've asked you about your favorite. You said Morocco.
Botswana, of course,
yeah.
Which is it's not in Europe, but Botswana is one. Morocco, Turkey, Bosnia.
Bosnia?
Yeah, it's an amazing country to travel to. What could be the 5th one? Norway is also it's an interesting country. And everything happens precisely there. you drive a certain speed, you cannot park there, you've got to, so, but it's an amazing country as well.
I do think there's going to be highlights, but I think every country, when you enter it, is a highlight.
Yeah.
So it's not, I would believe it's not about the country, it's about the adventure.
Yeah.
Every time you go to a different country, and we alluded to Russia is difficult to get into, but once you're in, you forget all of that, and everything in front of you is just a new experience.
It is. Yeah.
And so I don't think there's a bad country to go. Yeah. Maybe that's another way of asking. Is there countries that you wouldn't go? Back to basically.
I wouldn't go back to England.
Okay, interesting.
Because it's
England or UK?
Scotland, we've been to Scotland as well, and Scotland was okay. But I wouldn't go to the UK itself. They're not motorhome friendly at all.
It's a caravan country.
Yes, but the caravans park in a campsite.
Yeah.
So if you want to do motorhome, it's usually a bit bigger. Although having said that, car and a caravan combination is a big combination. But the roads are narrow. The roads are not good. It's expensive to travel to, so we wouldn't go back to England. Italy is also difficult to travel to because of it's a small country with narrow roads and that sort of thing. So it's difficult to park, and you want to go to Cinque Terre where all those beautiful little towns on the sea. Yeah, and if you drive on the other side, you see the colourless side of those little villages. Yeah. So Italy was, let me put it that way, the western side with Cinque Terre and Rome and those sort of places there's the interesting places to see, but I'm not sure I would go back there. The north of Italy with the mountains and so on, that's spectacular. Yeah. But even there, it's crowded and there's lots of traffic and it's difficult to travel to.
Did you go to the Sicily area, southern?
No, we haven't been there yet. Okay. We'll go there when we go to Tunisia.
Okay, yes. Oh, all right. So you're going to go ferry from Sicily to Tunisia?
We'll ferry from Civitavecchia, I think is what it's called, which is close to Rome, to Tunisia. And from Tunisia, we'll go back to Palermo.
Okay. Yeah.
So, that's the plan.
That will be interesting.
Yes.
We can talk about that in a bit. I want to hear that one.
Yes.
Right, let me have a see. What kind of filters do you have in the truck? And are they connected to the kitchen? Filters?
No, we don't
have any. It's water filters. Yeah, water filters.
We've just got the ones that you've installed.
Yeah.
They're microfilter things. But that's it. And we more often than not don't use that little tap with the microfilters. We've never felt that the water that we're putting into our tanks is not drinkable. So we haven't really used that little tap much. I don't think one should eliminate the need for it. But we have found that water overall is drinkable and fairly safe.
So you don't buy separate drinking water?
No.
It's just
not at all.
Everything from the tanks used. Okay,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Then here, have you ever been threatened by residents of one of the countries that you visited?
No.
No.
No, not at all.
Never a travel ban?
No.
A threat?
No. It's interesting. I mean, people are rather curious about who you are and where you come from than get off my land type of thing. We've only been asked to move on once, and that was in Morocco, if I remember correctly. We were parked on a beach, and there was a military kiosk, or whatever you call it, close by. And the guys came over and said, well, this is a military area, you're not allowed to park here overnight. We were there for the whole day, but you can't park overnight. So we just moved on to the next beach. But apart from that, never. Police are more visible in many of these countries, which is a sort of a reassuring thing, rather than the police are watching you type of thing. So we've never felt threatened or anything like that.
Yeah, good.
No. No, it's rather a question of people walking out and saying, oh, "Where are you from?" And that's
People are interested.
People are
So
interested.
security really is not a concern.
It's not a concern,
in
no.
what you've done so far.
Yeah. One would of course not park in an area where you can see it's not kosher. So we pick our spots, but we've parked away from people, and you think, wow, we're in the middle of nowhere. We've been to Kutsi, and there was nobody within 30 kilometers from us, and we were surrounded by elephants. So, I think if you can get through that, then you can more or less park anywhere else. So,
here's a nice question from Addicted to Africa. Do you use 4x4 on these travels? So maybe have you used in this, because you're in Western Europe, Eastern Europe, Balkans.
yes.
How many times have you engaged it's permanent four-wheel drive, but
Yeah.
how many times have you really needed that traction?
Now, I don't know if the person who asked the question knows that the Iveco has got high range and low range in high range, and high range and low range in low range as well. So essentially, we've got 24 gears. We often use the half gears in high range when we travel through mountains, because it's just easier to get through. Your normal high range is not always good enough, so we use that. And then if you travel hilly country, the half gears helps with braking.
Okay.
So we use it, for that. We have used the low range when traveling down mountain passes because of the notorious bad brakes of the Iveco, which is, it's just one of those things. So we have used low range coming down from the Pyrenees or, one of those mountain ranges. But we have also used the low range in one or two occasions, more of as a safety concern than anything else, not because we really went that far off-road. With the Iveco, you can go into sand, half gears engaged, maybe your center diff lock on, and it'll just go. We found that in Botswana. I never used low range in Botswana. Air down the tires a bit, half gears, low range, center diff lock, and we can pull away on an uphill in sand with the truck. On one occasion we used the low range to get out of snow. We were coming through Georgia. It was late afternoon. We parked next to a river. It was all green and a little bit of rain. Woke up the next morning, about 6 inches of snow. So we were not quite sure where the road was. I knew more or less the direction we had to go in. And there was a little bit of an uphill to get from this area next to the river up to a tar road. So half gears, went up the hill, but the wheels just started turning because it was just too slippery. So we reversed back a bit. I engaged the low range. Did I? Possible, but the center diff lock and rear diff lock, and we went out without any problem. The video is somewhere on YouTube. So there was a bit of a slip and sliding, but apart from that, no, we haven't had any real reason to use the low range.
Okay. There was another question here. So this alludes to the same. So Len is making the calculation that what you're about to say is about 80% of the distance you traveled, you'll be able to do in a non-4x4 camper.
Yeah.
Is that a good, accurate?
Yes, yeah.
But that's for what you've done so far.
Yeah.
Where you're going next might change that calculation a bit, correct?
It might change the calculation. We probably won't use low range much. I always say it's nice to be able to it's nice to have a robust vehicle that you can go off the road just that little bit further than a guy with a van or a guy with a normal motor. You've got confidence that nothing will break or nothing should break. You can go on a gravel mountain pass and you come out the other way and you'll have the experience of going there
Yeah.
instead of worrying what's going to fall off. And
Peace of mind.
yeah,
The traction, the capability
yes,
gives you peace of mind.
yeah.
And I can fully agree to that.
Mm.
Yes, you can access, and I've traveled Europe extensively.
Mm.
You can, I've not been to the Balkans,
Mm.
Balkans yet, but I've traveled that, and I 100% agree.
Mm.
It's not what your current vehicle, that you use what you've got.
Mm.
It's that if you need it,
Mm.
it's there.
Yeah.
And it gives you a sense of relief in your head that
Yes,
whatever my travels, my adventure brings me,
yeah,
I'll be fine.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that is worth a lot.
yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've been onto beaches where, we would park and somebody else come with a motorhome and say, oh, okay, there's a motorhome on the beach, and they would get stuck and we could assist them. Or you can go off the road on a little track next to the river, and you can get out of there again, which you wouldn't do with a motorhome or a van or something like that. So it's just that confidence that you have to be able to go a little bit further than anybody else without getting into trouble. We don't want to go do off-roading because this is our house. We don't want to break it. We don't want to put it in a situation that you'll break something or damage something. So, but that's what we can do with it when we want to.
Awesome. It's been an hour and 10 minutes already. I think we're going to close off. Maybe that you can explain where you want to go, what your future plans are. There was a question here as well, so how long you're still going to do this. So maybe if you want to summarize where your future plans are, and then we can close it off.
Yeah, the plans for the next year is that when we go back now, we'll go to Morocco again. From there to Tunisia. We'll do probably another stint in the Balkans. And then come back to Europe towards the end of November next year. And then come back to South Africa for 3 months or so. And then once we go back in 2027, we'll go to Turkey. And then either one of two ways. We think of doing Iran, Pakistan, India. And once you're there, we'll go to the stans, which is Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, those places, through China.
Yes.
Or we'll go, if Iran doesn't work out, we'll go from Turkey through Russia to Kazakhstan and do the stans, and then Mongolia and on to Vladivostok. So that's in this. Yeah. So that's the next 2 years. And then after that, we hope to do the Far East over a year or two. So that's the plan for now.
That sounds awesome.
We're looking forward, really want to go to Iran. We might even go to Oman or places like that. The problem is we can't drive from Iran to Oman because you've got to go through Saudi Arabia, and they don't allow right-hand drive vehicles. So we've got to ship around that. But we'll see. So we've still got some time. The big thing is the carnet, the passage that you need for a vehicle when you want to go to Iran and Pakistan and India. And that costs a bit of money well, when you say you've got to put down a deposit to the value of your vehicle for that. So we'll see how we can get around that. But I think it'll be interesting to go to those countries. You've got places like the Karakoram Highway is one of those overlander bucket list things, and that's when you go north through Pakistan to the Chinese border. That's the Karakoram Highway. And then the Wakhan Valley is the other one, which goes from Tajikistan to all along the Pakistan border to Kazakhstan. So, those are the places that you hear about and other overlanders do, and we'd like to do that as well. Yeah, it sounds
awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds absolutely awesome.
And then Mongolia, where there's nothing, hopefully we can go through there as well.
What's the next step, right? So,
yeah.
If you're in that area, yeah. Ulaanbaatar, here we come.
Ulaanbaatar, yeah.
Right. Where can people get hold of you? If you have questions, I see there was a couple of questions here earlier as well. If you will assist people if they have questions and things like that.
Well, there's a WhatsApp number on the Facebook page. So it's probably the best to visit
Yeah.
the Facebook page, DM me,
We'll put a
or
link. We'll put
yeah.
a link to the Facebook page on as well. But you
Yeah.
can say what it is. It's a
It's just Kukama's Travels.
Kukama's
Kukama's Travels, yes.
Facebook.
Hopefully we'll post a bit more on Instagram this year. I see everybody goes Instagram, so. And we've got this new little DJI camera. Hopefully we can post more stories and reels and things. So we'll try and do that as well.
Awesome. Thank you,
Good.
Deon. Thanks for everybody online to join us. I see we had some good listeners, which I'm grateful for. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us. It's it's nice to share the stories and so on, and give people a bit of insight in what we do and where we are and so on.
Yeah, it just for me it just says I need to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it tells me.
Yeah,
I need to
yeah.
go and do it.
Yeah, and I think we might have inspired somebody else. There's a truck in your, or a camper here in your warehouse, and I know they're coming to Europe next year. So
There we go.
hopefully that was our inspiration.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
We'll see.
Thanks everybody.
Good.
And if this all works out well, then we will definitely do another live. Thanks, Sia.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
The man behind the camera there.
Right. Thank you everybody. Enjoy seeing that it's a Friday. Enjoy the weekend.